Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Saturday, October 30th, 2021, and today's topic is called Sky Bursts. It's a collection of images and sky observations happening October 22nd through the 28th, 2021, and this is show number 126. There are going to be a few alternate cover slides because, boy, this show is loaded with some curiosities. This one over here at 8.1, what the heck is that going on in the northern sky? We're going to touch on that more later. As will we with this. What the heck is this thing? We'll take a closer look coming up. See which alternate cover slide, or, if you like the one I picked, see which one you like the best. All right, now this is the starter image, which is the Words, Wisdom, and Spirit of the Day page combined with the greetings again. So I'd like to say good day, osio, how, buongiorno, guten tag, kia ora, jambo, kedu, buenos dias, bonjour, ni hao, dzień dobry, konnichiwa, dobrohonia, annyeonghaseyo, boa tarde, dobry den, aloha winala, kalimera, guten dag, and good day. Now this is a very important question today coming from the Ibis Wisdom. Where do you stand? Now, this came to my attention, this whole topic, from an excellent podcast. It's also a YouTube channel called Crow. Actually, I'm going to give you the spelling and everything. It's Crow777 on YouTube, and it's crow777radio.com. Now, it's very important. The Crow, it's two R's in it, so it's CRROW777 on YouTube. And it's CRROW777 and the word radio, radio.com on the website. And actually, more often than not, they're directing you over to the website these days because for obvious reasons, YouTube is censoring like crazy and nonsensically. So check out that website because there's a lot of key legal information and other information, mystical information, all kinds of information there. It's very helpful because whether you're in the spiritual-minded, world or in the 3D, we kind of have to oscillate between the two these days as we're evolving collectively. So there are going to be times where we need that really good, solid, metaphysical, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, information on the 5D side of things, fifth dimensional, heading in that direction. But we're still planted and rooted here in the earth, so we need some 3D material kind of tools as well to deal with things. That has a great blend of both over there. Now, one of the guests is also so key and helpful right now, given the global situation, let's just say, in standing up, for your rights, your God-given rights first and foremost, and your human rights. So great 3D tools and other spiritual tools are over at the Healthy American Peggy Hall on YouTube or thehealthyamerican.org, O-R-G. She has a couple backup channels on YouTube, Living Swell with Peggy Hall and Freedom for California. And she's basically on every platform now trying to get, the biggest reach possible. Now, because of her, I found out about her on the Crow 777 channel. Thank God, because of her, I've been able to live free, freely breathe, stand up for my rights every which way and those of children, and have actually made a huge impact because of her and her teachings and her she's got a ton of free information on her various platforms for you to use if you're finding that you need to stand up for your rights, to say no against any, let's just say, testings and covering your face and getting lethal things, toxic things injected into your body. So those are great resources for that. Now, back to the Crow777radio.com. He also had a couple of amazing international guests that talk about legal rights. And the question is, what are you standing under? Whose authority? And if you're being questioned by law enforcement, now this is from not only a USA perspective, but this applies, I think, to Australia and other places, Britain, Great Britain, UK, and elsewhere around the world. If you want to, look these things up and adapt them to your own country and see how you can work your way through and, find the best way to get through here and maintaining your rights in a society and a world that's just gone loco, crazy. But anyway, what was important here was the notion of, understanding. So if a law enforcement comes up to you and says, hey, do this or do that, and it's within your rights, God-given and otherwise, not to do so, and you don't want to do it, and they say, hey, do you understand me? You understand? Don't say yes. Just say, I don't stand under you. I get what you're saying. I don't stand under you. I stand within. I understand everything. So anyway, that's important, and do look up some of the shows and podcasts or episodes at Crow, CRROW 777radio.com, because it's extremely helpful and it's important enough that I want to emphasize it here today. Now, the question is back to the Ibis, though, on the less, 3D material tools side of things, more spiritually, where do you stand? So, are you standing within your full power, your divinely connected and flowing power, or are you, standing, 2 feet on the ground, planted and firm in that, rooted in that? Or are you, feeling a little off balance and you're on 2 feet, but you're digging in the ground deep, but feeling like you got to come out fighting and not getting back into the more Zen-like state, like this one on the right, this Ibis on the right is poised on 1 foot, firmly planted, doesn't need to, and it's like totally knows what it is and what it's doing, and is able to accomplish so much more on less, so to speak, with one leg. Anyway, we go through obviously phases in life and moments in life where we're really strong in ourselves, and then the next day we may be falling apart. That's just human nature. That's nature on this planet. Very understandable. There's going to be times where we're coming in full 100%, and there are other days that we're only able to bring 10 or minus 10%. So the question of where do you stand, obviously it's a more loaded question with where do you stand on what's going on in the world right now. And I'll just say that I stand firmly rooted in myself. Yes, I'm going to have wobbly days, but we can still stand on one leg. We don't need two. And also I stand for live and let live. Each person has absolute sovereignty over, I can't say this word today. Everyone's a sovereign being and has full command and authority over each one's beingness and oneself. So that's what I'm going to say for today. All right, so let's move along. Did I read the quote? I'm going to read it in case I didn't, and forgive me if I already did. So the key important, sorry, I've been recording this several times. So going back to the Crow Crow, CRROW 777, either YouTube or on his website. The notion came up about this understand and are you standing under. So I found another quote. I have the excerpt listed of where I've taken it from the reference below. But the quote goes like this. Today, we learn how when you understand someone, you literally stand under them. When you understand someone, you actually stand inside or stand with someone. Finally, when you overstand someone, you are standing over or on top of someone. All right, so that's enough for now. I'm going to move along for the sky observations part of the show. Now, whether you are new or returning to this channel, I give you a big heartfelt thanks and welcome. If you're returning, you might want to skip this bit. If you are new, I'm going to try to make this an abbreviated intro of what I'm doing here, why I'm doing it. So I'm just going about my daily business in and around usually Miami, Florida, the greater Miami area, or wherever I travel, and I look up. And I take a look up periodically throughout the day, just a few seconds out of the day. So I invite you to also do this if you're not doing it already. Just, when you're coming and going somewhere, take a look up, look around you 360 degrees. Start to look at the clouds, notice patterns, notice odd-shaped things happening up in the sky. Also just go by feeling if something just feels off. Also look at the way the sun is shining or not. Is it glaring and intense? Is it fixed? Is it changing size and shape? There are a lot of things going on. And actually, if you look at any of my previous shows, you'll understand, what types of things I'm looking at and why. I was given a very clear sign, kind of almost in a supernatural way, back in 2018 to really start intensively looking at the skies, and that's what I've been doing. And then only for a little under a couple of years now have I been sharing what I'm seeing. So what I do is just take photos with an old Android camera phone, and then later, so I have the original photo as you see here. Then later, I'm going to skip ahead now, and I go and I enhance it. And now enhancement means I just take the photo and I edit attributes of it, such as color saturation, brightness, contrast, things of that nature. I just tweak the levels a little up, a little down, and see what pops out. Now, this is not the best example. Others will come up in the show of what I mean. What it does is highlight things that I just sense are going on up in the sky or that I can clearly see, but it just brings them out in a crystal clear way. It also allows us to see color signatures of like things with different temperatures happening up in the sky, which also is very telling. Now, I'm going to put cloud in quotes in the lower right-hand corner. That means I suspect there to be cloak and craft. More often than not, I'm talking about something that's ET technology, whether it's advanced ET tech or basic, I have no idea. But I'm saying something far more sophisticated than what humankind can produce right now, or at least on its own. It could be a collaboration also with human, meaning military at this point, or dark projects. But otherwise, I'm just talking about most of what I'm seeing is seems to be of ET origin or something interdimensional and sometimes supernatural. So anyway, we're going to start looking at these things. I have many reasons of why I'm saying that. Again, look at any of my other previous shows for more detail. Otherwise, I think we're just going to move along now. So in this case, I'm going to go back, here's the original. I just kind of felt weird things happening up in here. The consistency of this particulate was not like regular cloud. We have stuff coming vertically down. If you look at my cursor, just filling in this whole space was very odd. Had some brighter white spots that did not feel natural happening at A. So we look at it with enhancement. And to me, this is a little cloak and craft in and of its own right there. Stuff is starting to emerge here, I believe, where you see these different heat, or not heat, but color signatures. We get a lot of warm activity around here too. So that's telling me, because now we're looking northeast in the morning. And this redness usually doesn't really pop up in pinks unless there's something going on. Just historically, my experience of documenting these things. Now we're going to look to the northwest. And, again, I see darker objects kind of look like imprints happening beyond, or one big object, and we're just getting glimpses of what's going on. Could also be the case. So we look to the right at the enhanced version. And I get a burn spot, a hot spot, so that, again, it's telling me something. There's a unique standalone thing cloaking back in here is what I'm saying anyway. See what you think. There could be little parts and pieces, like this could be a triangular shaped craft in and of its own right. There could be things tucked in here, a conglomeration of things, or this is one bigger thing. I don't know that part. See what you think though. All right, here we go. Looking at the left is the original, the right's the enhanced version. And at the right hand side, I'm trying to figure out what the heck is going on here. I mean, I see textures and things that don't seem normal. This is a straight line here, and it's coming down almost like at a, this is like looking at something on an angle. And so we have a line going this way and a line coming back down that way at a 90 degree, and one over here too. And so the more I looked at this, and sometimes if you're looking at this on a laptop screen or a bigger screen, squint your eyes, because then you can see objects come to the fore more clearly. If you're looking at this on a smaller, like handheld device, you might readily see it. But what I'm seeing is like this is like a command deck, or of a ship, and that this is the bow, the front of it, because we've got this very specific shape. And then we have a straight line here and a straight line here. You see something emerging, looks like another craft coming out at C.1. So because this might not be so clear, I went ahead and put sketch overlay lines. So keep your eye on the right-hand side of the slide at 8.1. And here we go. So this is what I'm seeing. I'm going to toggle back and forth. So this is just a very crude sketch. So, it's not in full detail. But just notice, like this is like more of a curve to it. And this curves back up. But I just kind of, dummied it down for now. I'm going to go back, and toggle. So look again at A and C. So that's what I'm seeing, okay? So that's why I'm saying that, this is a clear straight line, so is this. And, when I zoom in, I can actually trace, where we've got straight lines. So that's why I'm saying that is craft, okay? Now, this is this is the cover, actually what went out for the cover, or at least one of the slides close to it. So look at B, it was just looking strange. We have a straight line. It was looking very triangular with something else dropping down, descending from it. And then this was all looking very choppy and staccato-like. And I use the term staccato. I know it's a musical term, just something meaning choppiness, dissonance happening up in the sky. It means that when I'm looking up, even to the naked eye, it's all fuzzy and choppy. As you can see, the trees are in focus, but we look up and it's all fuzzy. And when that happens, I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to the let me go back. So when that happens, that tells me there's cloak and craft or multiple cloak and craft above. And it's either sending out intentionally electromagnetic wave or other, like radio or some kind of frequency disturbance, wave frequency disturbance, to help cloak things. Or it might just be inherently the nature of however that craft is powered that it like disturbs the atmosphere. I'm not sure which. Anyway, at A, I start to see, sorry, I'm trying to grab this cursor, a point up here. So to me, this is part of either a mini triangle here or this overall thing is a cloaking triangle. And we're going to get at what's going on here. Now the next slide, and something strange is like floating down in here by the palm tree, coconut tree. So anyway, when I put on this enhancement, it's a little extreme because I was trying to really draw out the color signatures so you can see this burst. That's why it's sky burst in the title. This magenta stuff, and then orange and peach happening down here. And at the same time, look at this floating along. This is the white, blue, kind of ethereal colored stuff that I started to notice with craft and weird activity happening in the skies that wasn't natural. And then over here too, we start to see a feature. This looks like some type of machine part popping up. So I don't know if this whole thing in that same vein of the, the white, blue color, it seems to all belong to each other. I'm not sure if this is all one craft or, several pieces. There's something happening over here too. And again, I don't know if it's jutting out from one bigger craft or these are isolated 3 different things going on. This is a lighter pink signature, so that also might be a craft in and of its own right. Now let's pay attention to the obvious thing. This is B. And look at the shape, how strange, So we've got this darker material, and I didn't mention earlier in the show, when I'm going to refer to cloaking material, you can see it's like a different color and consistency happening around some of these objects, but clinging to them. I'm just going to go with plasma as my go-to for the cloaking material. So look at this like plasma wafting over, kind of cascading over this thing, so you can see the darker element and then what is more vapor-like. At this point we just see, oh, is this all one weird shape, one craft, and there's like a fin coming down from it or something. And then we are going to zoom in. So to the right is the enhancement of the zoom in on that thing, and it's a little cut off, but we see, there's a solid body, and it still continues on, and it still looks like it has cloaking material around it. But then we look at B.1, and what looked like a solid fin actually is more of like a triangular shape, looks like standalone craft. Maybe it's paired with another one on the other side, a companion craft. But see what you think is going on there. It's very interesting regardless. And then we're going to pan over a little bit later, or to the right or to the south of what we were just looking at. Yeah, I think that's the end of the craft we were just looking at. Now we're going to look more of what's going on in the rest of the sky. And when I was doing my typical enhancements, I didn't get at too much. Like I was hoping to pull out that triangle up here. Really wasn't happening. But what I did find is when I really exaggerated the contrast and blew out the brightness, this was some very interesting detail pop up here that looks very organized, and it looks very much like intelligent design, over in this area. So see what you think, and also note, once again, these different color signatures that pop up. When I see the red pinks come up, it grabs my extra attention. And if you look at the description box below, you'll see what some thoughts are on what could be generating that color. All right, now we're going to look to the west toward the evening. This just caught my attention because it was so strange. Look at, we've got a triangular shape here at A, and what is going on these crisscrosses over here that seem pretty solid with cloaking material over them? And bam, with some enhancement, we really see it. I don't have an answer on what this thing is. Look how curious this thing is. It's almost like some of this stuff, too, when I talk about cloak and craft, it could also be cloaking objects of some other kind, like instrumentation or sensors or whatnot. It also could be something very organic, and some earlier shows like All-Filled Sunset, it's a much earlier show. I was catching things that look very aquatic and very natural and very organic flying through the sky, and I think that's very possible. I think we can be getting glimpses into other dimensions and stuff that just kind of crisscrosses into ours and goes back out. Or it could be, advanced tech craft that's just simulated to look like something organic. But what is this thing, really? B.1, we've got like an arrowhead, like a triangular shape, and these little like tentacle things coming through. And then I didn't catch it until now, but I'm sorry, 8.1, yeah, we see triangular shapes. But then what is this thing coming in from the, right side, downward on angle into the scene here? Look at this. This is something, there's a straight line here, I don't know what that is. And this looks like it has intelligent design. These look like little, features popping up off of some object. Anyway, see what you think is going on in this scene. It's very strange. All right, also note, I'm never going to get to every single thing going on in any given photo. Sometimes there's just too much going on. So if I miss something that you really, had hoped that I would talk about, just let me know in the comment section below if you like. All right, this one, same deal. Original photos on the left, enhanced is on the right. This one gets really weird. So this looks like some bigger, to me anyway, if you follow my cursor, this just looks like some bigger triangular craft is moving in from the right side of the page and coming into the center of the page. This is darker. Clearly there's like, wafting lighter vapor smoke and mirrors effect kind of coming over this thing. And then we got weird texture and weird things going on down here. And maybe something else in the middle here, or this is part of all one thing. I am not sure. See what you think though. And then we got something strange coming, drifting down into the page at 8.1. Okay, here's a slightly different view, because I was trying to get at what is going on. This looks like it has texture and detail to it. So actually, is this like a feature? what do you call it, like an emblem or something stuck on to the surface of a bigger craft? I think so, because what other purpose would this have? I mean, look, it has definite shadow, definite straight edges. Very interesting. It's almost like if this were a giant and this is the shoe and like a pointed shoe, it's almost like a buckle feature is what I see. But anyway, see what you see in there. All right, this one we're looking west toward the evening. Again, left is the original, right is enhanced, and I just see a darker object coming down here, and then maybe this is all one thing, or if it's two, this thing is exact perpendicular to the movement of this, so, that doesn't happen in a natural cloud system. Also, actually, the more I look at it, this looks more like a boomerang wing with two prongs coming out in front, so almost like a fangs, of a spider or something's pretty creepy. Anyway, but in keeping with Halloween coming up. But the reason why I say that is that it almost looks like this is, the leading edge of a craft, and this is whatever features come off the top of it. And it looks like it's zooming in. If you follow my cursor this way, you almost see like the trail of it, flying in. This might even be tail or legs, combined, as a part of this thing that are just being cloaked. I'm not sure. But no matter what, there's movement coming down this way, and it looks like it's like a something trying to catch something, like C.1, this looks like a craft over here. See what you think in that scene. It's really bizarre. Again, noting the red, pink signature, and even purple now. Okay, now we're going to zoom in. I'm going to go back. We're going to zoom in on the C1 element, and we're going to look at C.2 is just blowing up in there, zooming in. And then C.3, I was just trying to get at what is this thing. Now what's very interesting is this is like a wedge. This is a triangular shape with some type of stick coming off of the back of it. And I caught this shape more clearly, like much more clearly, in my earlier show, and I'm going to mess up the title, but it was something like Epic, Lightning show, and it was called Epic Backyard Nighttime Skycraft Battle, something like that. I have a clear silhouette of this thing as well. So this is now my first time seeing this shape again. So it's got to be a craft. And then down here, actually we're going to go back to the left-hand side. On the non-enhanced version, look at, we got a straight line here with a corner, and it's coming down this way. So again, that's intelligent design. No natural cloud systems form, triangular things, geometric things that are symmetrical, unless it's maybe a disk, but then that's a sphere or a circle. But not triangular forms. I've also seen octagonal, hexagonal, and other things, trapezoids, rhombus. It just doesn't happen in a natural cloud system. So anyway, here's that shape now after a little bit of time. It's morphing a bit. Here's that weird thing up at 8.2 that looked like it had the prongs coming down. And we look with enhancement. Look at this. Now not only do we see that thing that I think has to be a craft, like some kind of batwing or boomerang shaped with these prongs coming down and maybe some kind of tail going back there. Now look what we have here. I didn't label it, but if you follow my cursor, that's a triangular shape or like an arrowhead shaped thing, now maybe splintering off of this thing. So is this thing, is this a craft shooting at this or this? Are we having a little battle going on? I'm just seeing that story unfold now. Maybe, maybe not. But if not, I really don't see how we can say that's not some type of foreign object in the sky or unidentified object there, and this as well. So to me now this is looking like a little craft in profile, and this is like a little spoiler or tail shooting up the backside. See what you think is going on in that one. And here we're going to zoom in on this one more time because I was really curious to see if we could pull out any more detail, because a lot of times I do get machine parts and things. Looks like it might be forming back here. But with enhancement, yeah, I guess I did pull out like a pipe. This looks like the end of pipes in the back. If this is the back of a craft, that's what I see. Anyway, see what you find in this one. A lot of these photos too, I just want to leave up to you to spend more time on your own to see what's going on. Like here I see some dimension to this little dart-shaped piece, elongated triangle. This is, if you read this as coming towards you, it has a lot of structure and depth to it. So I think that might be an overall bigger craft like emerging into the picture as well. Alright, this gets really weird looking south toward the evening. On the left-hand side is the original. I looked up and I'm like, what the heck is going on here? We got like a weird choppy radial pattern. We have a straight line going up, something notched out clearly, triangular form out of it. I'm like, what the heck? So we look at the right with enhancement, and I didn't really get at like any answers. Sometimes I'm gonna have more questions than answers on all this stuff. But I'm like, okay, so what's the main, what's the main obvious thing going on here? And I really wasn't finding it for a while, but now I'll show you with a sketch tool here. So I think the main thing was this like imprint, this notch out, this void of a triangle shape. So I'm going to toggle back as you can see, I started to see a straight line here forming and a straight, more or less, line here. And so that's why I'm saying I think that's the feature of this thing. However, I'm going to just go back and forth a bit. Watch 8.1 on the right-hand side. There we go. That's what I'm seeing. But as always, that just might be like a red herring or just a side effect of something bigger going on above it. With a lot of this stuff I'm looking, and sometimes we get drawn into the little details, but there could be a whole huge thing going on above it too. So trying to be mindful of that when I do these things, but see what you see, and we'll keep going. Now this was just pure strange. This was toward the evening looking east, and this whole thing just felt like every fiber of my core was like, what is happening? Something's happening up here. It's all fuzzy, all misty-like, very otherworldly, not like any other cloud system I've ever seen in my life. And I look to the right, and I don't get many more answers, but I get that that is not a natural form happening in the sky, or at least just say it could be supernatural. But that's something going on of either other dimensionally or otherworldly, and even it had a slightly different weird off color signature. Also, by virtue that everything else is a little choppy and fuzzy and coming in opposing angles and patterns to this thing, tells me something's absolutely going on. Even down here, this looks interesting. This looks like it was something with intelligent design and symmetrical. This little thing popping up here and below, it looks pretty symmetrical to me, and it looks like it has intelligent design. So something overall is happening in here. Now, similar, it's just still strange. And now, we've got these striations that are all parallel, not continuous. There's a break with like a point at it. So this is one of those that I invite you to take a look more at your own time. Look at AA2. It's all fuzzy and strange, I don't know what's going on in there, but I know there's something out of this world happening here, literally. So we look at it, now we're going to, look at it with some different angles, slightly different timings, and different enhancement, just to see if we can draw out what the heck is going on in here. I still don't have any answers. We also get like really weird stuff happening back here now. The whole thing was just so strange. And this is a panorama, so it's going to be a little distorted. This is not as curved as things were, but we get a little bit better idea of what's going on from the northeast to the southwest, southwest being over here. And, just strange patterns. Look at this thing coming in perpendicular to this line. That wouldn't happen in a natural cloud. And then we're going to zoom in at the point of that thing. And now, we get a triangular shape, little outcropping here. We get weird stuff happening down in here. Again, strange stuff starting to emerge here, which could be cloak and craft. And keep an eye on AA. That's lowercase AA. We're going to see what's going on here, because this looks like a clear, to me, cloak and craft coming out off the point of this thing, or if this is the bow heading downward of a ship, a bigger ship, I don't know. Anyway, let's take a look in a second. So we're going to use a little contrast here. This looks like a little arrowhead delta shape thing, or triangular shape thing here too, triangular shape. We get more happening here, more development over here. To me, that's a cloak and craft. We get some sky imprints happening even beyond in dimension to this thing. It's just looking really strange. So actually I'm going to go back. Look at AA.1 with me. That shape we're going to focus in on. Okay, so now we look at AA.2. And look at that. I see a solid dark, shape with mass to it with cloaking material wafting over it. Then here's that little dart-like thing. I was looking at that little arrowhead thing. It's also like a dark body with some, different consistency of material wafting over it. Then, big surprise was these question marks. What the heck is this thing? I was spending my time looking at this up here at AA.2, and this totally surprised me. So look at the different color signatures. It's indigo, light purple, like a grape color. Then we got this bright white speck, which to me shows that is, that's a feature of this thing, like a machine part, popping up higher in elevation to catch some, reflection or something. And then we got one over here too. And so I think this is something kind of piggybacking or sitting on top of a bigger craft headed this way, if you see my cursor. See what you think, though. That was a fun surprise, though, to see that little weird object pop up. Now we're looking north, and weirdness was happening here, too. So I started to see a symmetrical form, curving to a point back here, darker form, like a void-like form. And then down here, too, I started seeing, like, right angles, some sharp angle making a sky imprint. So we look to the right, and here we go, B.1. You see a darker object. Now, what's parted, the way has parted here with whatever's cloaking in front of it. So at first I thought it was just this thing down here, but actually this looks like a part of one bigger thing. If you look up toward 8.1, I think this is all one thing, and we're just seeing, that this wafting, material is coming over. It makes it look like it's maybe divided into two parts, although, it very well could be two separate things, one sitting on top of each other. See what you think? And then C.1, look at this, straight line, straight as can be, banking backward now to a right angle or near right angle and coming up. So that's a standalone shape as well, a geometry. And it seems to be coming swooshing in down here. The movement is moving along this way, while this one seems to be moving up this way. See what you think's going on with that one. Then, I'm sorry, we're going to go back to the C.1 element over here. My cursor is jamming today. Here we go, as in sticking. We're going to look at this little element and see if we can get at anything more, and I really didn't, but I thought it might be telling. Looks like this is made up of three little parts, though, whatever that is. See what you think is going on. Then this one gets really weird because now we're zooming in on that one feature that I said was right angle down here. But then the more that I look, I just sense something strange is going on here. So why do we have these pronounced things coming, parallel to each other and perpendicular to this movement? So now that I look at this could be an overall, shape happening here. And I say that, these like not hot spots, but these areas of extra concentration of plasma material, they get really white. And a lot of times they're forming at the edges and corners of a shape that's either coming or going. But I don't know what these are in this case. That logic follows true for down here. So it's like forming the outline, the void of this shape by virtue of this concentrated material at the edges. But I don't know what these are doing. So I was like, what is going on here, really? I don't quite get it. And so with some enhancement, I get this staccato choppiness all over the place. And I still didn't quite see, okay, what are we looking at here? And so that's what I think we're seeing. So I'm going to go back and toggle back. Follow my line here. We see a line coming this way. We see a curve here, interrupted a bit, but another curve coming back here. So I think this is one possibility of what could be going on, like something's like zoomed in this way, I think that could be the overall shape, but it very well could be some other kind of thing happening in there. That's just what I see for now. See what you see. Okay, this is looking south toward the evening, and it did not escape my attention because look at this straight line, Looks like the point of something is docking with yet another shape, if they're like kissing each other in that kind of motion. Triangular form at B, this is all to the naked eye, and here's with some enhancement. Hang on one second. Okay, I'm back. And so we also get different, consistencies of things. I don't know what's going on up in here with these ridges and texture. Seems to be overlapping this body, but look at, we get like a bulbous form, a rounded form below. Like if this were a fish, this would be the front where the mouth is, and that would be the belly, and going back toward the tail. I don't get too much at what is going on other than like C.1, I start to see tubular features, like half tubes, like submerged. You just see the top curves. Weird texture going on in here. So for lack of a better thing, guess, I know it's not a natural cloud or clouds happening, so I'll just say cloak and craft of some type. Then we're going to look south yet again, looking down at B, and I start to see a sharp point jagging out here and over here at C. Something strange happening at A. So we look to the right and see a triangular form, darker form with cloaking material in front of it. Then here we get some of red-pink signatures. So is this just, part of a craft that we're seeing, or is this an overall bigger thing that has like a pointed elliptical shape, or yet again something huge? I don't know. But look at B.1. That's a triangular form. C.1, it looks like we're looking behind some diffused or frosted glass at something, it just looks ripply, like we're looking through a rippled glass, but we see a shape, very clear object. What it is exactly, I don't know. See what you think. Now we're going to zoom in on that C element that looked like they're, behind rippled glass or something, frosted glass, and let's see what's going on. And unfortunately, I don't get crystal clear detail, but I do get a dark black body with other, consistency of cloud form or cloaking wafting over it, and it has some texture to it. Also looks like something is jettisoning out from it. Is this like a garbage capsule? Is it a little ship? Is it a sensor? Is it an instrument of some kind? I don't know. It looks like another thing is being obscured here of triangular shape, and I don't know what this is doing. But anyway, all of this to say, everything going on in different motions, especially this riding up, tells me there's some kind of cloaking objects going on. Okay, now, speaking of cloaking objects, what the heck is happening here today? This is in the cover. I want to note on this bigger one before we get to the enhanced version that it seems like there's that movement coming down this way. Something might be happening up in here as well. Something strange happening right there. Obviously something super strange. I usually don't use that term, but it fits. Happening there at A. So let's look at 8.1 for a minute. Look at this. What is this? This has like a cross-like shape. No natural clouds have a cross. Looks like another little cross shape like this one forming, like old-fashioned antennas or something. We have an arm, a clear stick popping out here. And what is that, like a tail whipping back there? I don't know. We have another little darker object with two prongs, very symmetrical. This is a straight line coming down, so it looks like something's absolutely cloaking back in here. I don't know if this is a standalone craft or this is part of one bigger thing. That's also possible. And also check out these color signatures all over the place. We get the ethereal white-blue, the pinks, reds, raspberries, and then we even come down to orange, red, yellow, and keep in mind, this is due north toward the evening, so nothing should be this vibrant at true north. Now we're going to zoom in on that weird little creature, I'll call it, and now we're zoomed in, so it's called 8.2. Here's that whip-like tail thing. There might be another one crisscrossing it like we saw in an earlier slide, that little crisscross effect of these weird tentacle things. This is a dark body. I can't, like a little turnip or something, or onion bulb with the top going up, but then we've got this like more, wedge-like thing happening off the back. What the heck is this thing? Is this again another case of one of these organic-like beings, or is this a craft to simulate something organic? You tell me, see what you think. I'm going to call it some type of organic being. That's what it looks like to me, mainly because of these like hose-like, tentacle-like things happening in the back. See what you think, though. Oh, so I have to say it, though. Okay, I meant to say it at the beginning. Okay, come on now. Really? What is this? I mean, really? I'm dumbfounded. It's exciting. I'm fascinated by it, but what the heck is it? Oh, as always, if you have any great ideas of what that could be, whether it's based in logic or pure fantastical notion of what it could be for fun, let me know in the comment section below if you like. All right, this one gets weird now. Not only we're going to look at A and B, but look at lowercase a especially. Okay, I might have to toggle a bit back and forth. But I'm looking east toward the evening, and again, there should be no red-pink signature, and yet there is some like bursting out of here. And, but really watch lowercase a2, how that thing starts to transform. So here first with some enhancement. You look at this, we also see either straight lines that are parallel emanating out of here, so that tells me there's some kind of power source or electromagnetic wave activity coming out of here local. But these also could be slightly bent, so I'm not sure if they're concentric circles, emanating out. But look at 8.1 again, because something really funky starts happening with that. Look at this. So 8.2, we had that little nub, and now it starts reaching out, see? I'm going to go back. See? It's like that shape, and then bam, it starts to get really skinny and is stretching and reaching out. At the same time it's reaching out, if you look at lowercase 8.3, we have a triangular shape echoing in the background that's in that pink signature. So to me, there's all kinds of artificial going on in this supposed quote-unquote cloud activity. At the same time, we get a point, so it's a triangular shape. There's a triangular shape here as well. Actually, I'm going to go back once again, or two rather. Was it here? Sorry, I'm trying to find... Oh, I guess it was just here. So, B is strange in its own right, but we also have like a triangular form. Look at this clean line happening here. So I'm going to go forward again. Here it is. I didn't label it, but there's a triangular form. There's kind of a choppy triangular form happening over here too, and something strange happening here at B.1. And I didn't label B.2 and all of that, but you can track that on your own, when you have a little more time. So anyway, when we look at 8.3 again, it looks like some strange thing is also swirling into this picture, or has, swirled out of it, let's say. It's just bizarre. See what you think is going on. Okay, now we're looking west-northwest. I don't have really any clear answers on what the heck is going on in here, but look at the right-hand side. We've got like a downturned triangle, as this is like a stick-like thing shooting up here with like a diamond shape at the base of it. This is a straight line. Again, is 8.1 an overall craft, or is this separate pieces, like even this? I'm not sure, and I'm not sure what this thing is doing diving down, presumably at B.1, but there's kind of like a little crater, like a divot, dent-like thing here. Also, the sky imprint is interesting of what's happening in here, with these curves and this line. It's symmetrical. I have no idea what's going on there. See what you think is happening. Okay, this one gets interesting. At first, it just looks like an odd, pink signature happening again east late at night where it shouldn't be, very low in the atmosphere to give that color. And then bam, with some enhancement. This could be, several different little bodies or one overall craft. This is a pure pointed ellipse, so I think that must be craft as well. See what you think. This one gets weird, not only because it's choppy and fuzzy, and it looked like it had these trails coming down, like something flew down this way. But it's got this weird frosted glass effect, like we're looking at it through some rippled glass. But look to the right, we've got this red-pink signature, and this void, okay, this notch out, also has a very specific shape with clean lines. So what's going on here? I don't know. Is this like a little portal opening up? Or is this yeah, I don't know. I guess that's what I'm going to go with, that's really a hole. Because look at 8.1, we got a pure, equilateral, like elongated triangle, sorry, right here, perfect and pure. So is that marking like the opening of something that stuff can, fly into? Or, something else? I don't know. See what you think. Oh, yeah, and this down here too, this solid body looks like a craft that just trailed in down this way. Other weird things happening at the perimeter of this thing. This is just zooming in a little bit more and checking out, just part of that structure, and just we get little weird hot spots, little weird, that looks like a perfect triangular form beyond. This is one of those where if you squint, if it's on a bigger screen, you can see more going on. If you have a handheld device, you're probably seeing more than I'm seeing right now. Got a bright point right here. Not really sure what's going on with this one, but it was an intriguing little detail of that scene. And then we come in the overall, we can see some stuff a little bit better. This looks like a clean object right here at B.1. Whether this is a more of a triangular form with rounded corners, I'm not sure. It looks like there might even be a hole up here. I'm really kind of, just stumped on this one, what's happening, especially with this darker shadow with a curve, almost faceted curve kind of happening down here. This seems to be going more vertical in the sky. Ooh, what is this? I really would love to know. Is it several different objects going on at once? Is this an opening where my cursor is? That an overall opening where stuff can fly in and out? So many questions on this one. Very intriguing. Hope you have fun looking at it on your own time. This one is just strange. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. It's getting later in the evening, so if you see some of my photos getting more bitmappy, blurry, and a little fuzzy, it's because, when the light gets really dim, my old Android camera can only do so much, my camera phone. But anyway, we get interesting different color signatures where these are even greenish, whereas this is, red, pink, and purplish. And keep in mind, these are all extremely low in the sky, which, clouds, even if these were natural, which they're not, I'm going to say they're not, would never be this low in the sky. That's in and of itself anomalous. All right, now we're going to look to the west. This gets very interesting. So obviously the more solid body caught my attention at A. It's like a diving down, pointed ellipse. And it looks like this is the trail flowing behind it. But then when I look at everything else going around it, I'm like, I don't understand what is happening here. Look at all the crazy twists and turns, not even twists, but, different turns at different angles and curves. So we look at it with enhancement. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. And we get these, bright red, pink color signatures going on. And then we get this weird shadow line coming down in the back. So that usually doesn't happen often when I enhance the photo. So that tells me there's something bigger happening up here in terms of veiling with some extreme, like tight particulate or something else. But whatever the case, look at, we got a straight line, or like a curve rather, but it's a clean edge. Clean edge here, I'm not exactly sure what we're looking at, but I still at least see this as being an object, and I really am totally mystified about what's going on in this one. So I'm going to zoom in on that little thing that I'm calling an object of what I can tell somewhat might be going on. And then this looks like it's zooming down in the foreground with something else trailing behind it. I don't think this thing is attached to this. See what you think though. But we get little triangular profiles. So again, it's regularized. There's a straight line. So that's to me intelligent design regardless. And then we look a little bit later when some of the color is getting more diffuse, because again, I think a huge layer of dense particulate is veiling all of this out, whatever this red-pink glow is going on. And again, look at my description box below of what I think this big red ball of red-pink glow is. And then we have this thing again, once again, it's faded out in color, that pointed ellipse I was looking at. But you see now this trail of it. It looks clearly like this thing zoomed down to this point, and this is the trail of vapor, whatever, coming behind it. Then we look with enhancement, and look at this. This is a red-pink ball being hidden, masked, and I'm not sure now when we look at this. This looks like a straight line. This overall thing behind this pointed ellipse could be a craft in and of its own right. That's what I'm starting to see now, and that now we're seeing it either phase in and out of state a little more clearly, just with this light source thing, backlighting going on. With the backlighting we see, we definitely have an object at 8.1, and it's definitely not a natural cloud form. Now I look at it a little bit later. Let's go back. That's at 6 minutes later. This is what's happening with my little pointed elliptical form that I was curious about. 8.2, look at this. What's going on here now? So and we have like a triangular form here. We look at the right. I don't get at any more answers, really, no more clarity, but more questions and more interesting things to ponder. What is doing this? So it looks like a little thing like sprang off here and is leaving a trail of the curve. And then our little friend here is morphing completely into something else from that pointed ellipse. So again, I don't have any answers on this one. See what you think is happening. And then this gets even more mystifying. If that weren't enough, we look to the south. What the heck is this? It's partly rhetorical and partly a straight-up question. I want to know what this thing is. So what caught my attention on this one were these pure, these three pronounced parallel lines that have shadow and dimension to them. They almost look like gills if you were looking at an organic thing, like some kind of natural organism, something in the ocean or whatnot. But at the same time, they could be vents or things carved into or a feature of a craft. So we're going to look at it with enhancement. And yeah, this is another one of those absolute stumpers. It almost looks like a bas-relief if you looked at it in the art world, because we see something kind of bulging out. So it looks like this whole thing is some type of medium. The sky, is malleable and can make these shapes. It looks like somebody's like behind a sheet and is like pushing their hand through, just to make these things stick out and be pronounced a little bit. But anyway, see what you think is going on. This thing is, seems to be very different in character off the, we'll say, his back, I'm assuming. We're going to zoom in a bit because there's like a circular feature now on top of all of this. So we look at it and you can see this dark thing. Now, if this were a little like a sea creature and those were like gills or something, that could be an eye, or a fake eye. But if it's a craft, I have no idea what this is. So regardless, this is all in the same plane, yet it has a very specific shape, very specific detail, and yet this is a totally different color if this is a tail or I don't know what. Anyone have any fun ideas even on this one? Let me know in the comment section below. Then we're going to take a slightly different look at it. It seems to be kind of disintegrating, falling apart, or morphing and changing shape, and then we see a straight line starting to appear atop it. So it seems like this is just part of, we're glimpsing maybe part of something bigger. And here when we put enhancement on it, now all of this, it looks like it's just in the state of morphing and changing, because now what we were looking at becomes more pronounced and starts to become that white, blue, ethereal light I was talking about earlier. And then this is, becoming more pink, a different signature, and I'm not sure what's going on here. So, but I do see a tracing of lines over here. So it's starting to look like this is a part of a bigger, like maybe pointed elliptical shape or craft, and maybe we're just seeing part of it pop through the particulate and veiling. I don't know. All right, now we're going to shift gears and look east in the morning. And this was weird. I saw a very long trail from the north, and then it kind of zigzagged and then ended up over here at B. That was strange in its own right, and then we have more strangeness happening down here below at C. So here it is with enhancement, and when we break this weird thing down, it looks like there's separate objects floating around in there, and that's just part of an overall cloaking method. And then something else is happening here too that looks to me like something cloaking. But look at all the different, what do I want to say, directional patterns in here. So like these are curving slightly, then this is doing its absolutely own thing. This is going off on one angle, this is going off at another, and then things are popping up off here at the profile. So again, see what you think is going on. I'm going to call these absolutely different standalone objects happening in here. Okay, then this is looking to the east, and this time, this might be more toward the south. But anyway, we see something with more of a, pointed profile to it, and things kind of echoing back in triangular fashion beyond. So we look to the right with enhancement. Again, we get this like looking at something behind the frosted glass of the 40s, like if you had a private investigator's office and they have that frosted glass. It looks like we're looking through that. Oh, and ignore this letter. I didn't exit out in the editing process. Anyway, still don't get it too much more detail, but I do see something now coming in from the right-hand side of the screen, like engaging with whatever this triangle is. So that's pretty weird. Let's see what you think is going on. And now this is the photo of the day and the close of the show. And spirit of Halloween coming up tomorrow, at least in the United States. We've got a neighborhood cat, a black cat, watches from beneath a truck. And this guy was watching me as I was taking pictures in the morning of the skies. And I thought might be friendly, but his general disposition is not so much. So it's a neighbor's cat. And actually, I think he was pretty ticked off because I stood between him and his path to getting to a patch of ground that he wanted to explore and probably catch things. So anyway, thanks for watching some things here a while with me. I hope these things inspire you or help you in some way, and if not, are just some beautiful visual eye candy for now. So anyway, as always, I wish you tremendous peace and love. Have a beautiful now. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.